Hi, welcome back to my workshop. This is part 2 of the ACID 800 XL series. Thank you for watching the first part. Your response has been amazing. So like I said, this is going to be focusing on the keyboard. This was a point of the project that I couldn't film. My workbenches were full with day job that I couldn't keep packing away. So I had to work outside of my room and it's just not possible to film. I did take lots of pictures. I did take a few videos with my phone. First, let's have a quick look at some of the pictures that we took of the keyboard before I did anything. And we can see the level of corrosion and rust and dirt that's on there. Step 1 was to put one end of the keyboard into my small ultrasonic cleaner, and we did a test run, and that came out okay. A quick scrub with a wire brush cleaned up some of the metalwork. I then tried to remove some of the key switches, and the corrosion on the solder pads was so bad it was just not happy. It was not having it. I was having to use too much heat and it was destroying pads and traces, as we can see. I then left that alone until the bigger ultrasonic cleaner arrived and we could get more than half the keyboard in, but that still meant that I had to flip it left, right, up and down. So we were able to clean the whole keyboard in the ultrasonic cleaner. I then scrubbed it again with the PCB cleaning solution. This time around it was easier to get the key switches out, but it was still very tricky and I did lose more pads and traces. Now that the key switches are out, I started to work on cleaning the key switches and the key caps. The key caps went through 3 separate cleaning. Each one just kind of like revealed something more that was underneath it. The last stage of the keycap cleaning, I took them home and just sat there all night and just watched something and cleaned them until I got everything. So that was a long process. The key switches also took a few days to get clean. The first day after I'd got everything out, I soaked them with some lubricating switch cleaner. The next day I tested them and found quite a lot of keys didn't work. So the keys that didn't work, I soaked in WD-40 overnight. The next day I tested them again, still didn't work. And a friend told me that you can take the legs out of the switches. So I took the legs out of the switches, soaked everything again in WD-40 for another night. Then the next day I used a file to clean up the legs before we put them back into the switches. We can do the test with the multimeter, and I was able to get all of the keys working apart from one, and then there's the key which is actually missing a leg. So I will order some more switches to replace those. So after many days of cleaning the keycaps, cleaning the key switches, cleaning the printed circuit board, we're at the point now where we can start to put everything back together and then actually do some testing to see if this is still working. At least we know the key switches actually work. In order to test the keyboard, we need a working system. So let's get the system from Enthused up and running so that we can test my keyboard in that system. This is the XL system that Enthused donated, and it was from his pile of untested that needed repairing, and he said he would more than happy donate it to the cause. I don't have a power supply, it's on the way, so I'm going to use my bench power supply, and I'm going to clip on to the power socket. This one is ground, this one is 5 volt that goes through the switch. So we can turn it on with the switch while we're doing our testing. Power supply modules set at 5 volt with 1 amp. If we have any problems, we could limit the current, but we can also see how much it's drawing. I also have a SysCheck card. So this can be used for diagnostics on XL and XE systems. It has its own BIOS and its own memory. So it can boot if the BIOS is not working and if the memory is not working. And then you can turn the diagnostic functions off and it will just work as a memory upgrade. So I'll turn on my power supply. Let's turn on the XL system. And we just get a brown screen. So it's not booting, but we are getting a display. Let's try the SysCheck card. So that plugs into the expansion port at the back, and then we have to plug 5 volt into one of the joystick ports. Onto the joystick port on pin 7. So let's try that again. It's trying to do something, but it seems to be garbage. And it's doing something different again. At this time, I only have one known working chip, which is a Sally chip. I'm going to swap the Sally chip just because it's the only thing that I can do. So here we have the Sally chip that I brought from eBay just in case because it was on sale. Let's try this again. And it's booting. So I haven't got the switcher set right on the syscheck. There we go. So now the syscheck is going to run diagnostics. And it will test the memory, and then it will test the operating system. This Sally that was in there is now marked with a cross and won't be used again.
A few moments later.
So that's now testing graphics. Memory is good, no problem found. So if we press start, and this keyboard is really temperamental. Operating system, ROM, checksum, OK. As far as syscheck is concerned, this is a working Atari. We could use the inbuilt functions of the operating system as well to do more tests. All the keys are working and it's time to put them back into the board. I'm not going to clean up any more of this because that will be hidden by the metal. I want to get this back together now. So there's the two. And then once the keys are in, I have to look at repairing the broken traces that I've done and also these links that are on the top. You can see these two bigger holes from where I had to drill out the screws. So that's something else that I will need to fix. I guess we should test that this works okay as well. And I think I should be able to super glue the ends down where they're starting to come up a little bit. Okay, everything works. Quite a lot of them are sticking up. So I'm going to clean underneath with IPA. Glue them down, I guess. Okay, I don't know if that's going to fix that, but at least they're not flapping about. Now I've got super glue everywhere. Let's do the small one first. So I want to go that way, I think. That's how they go on the big one. Get some flux on. Yeah, that one's not very good. The pad's coming up. Might have to like hot glue that one down. So I need to fix that track. Change the LED. Right, let's use the green budge wire. And then that can go onto the wire that we put through there. Nice new LED, which is going just there. So all that's left to do on that is the wires that connect them together. I've still got the old one, but it looked really horrible, so let's just do some new ones.
A few inches later.
Alright, I'm just going to put some hot glue to hold this one down. They're a bit wonky, but it will do. Okay, we'll put that to one side, let that dry. Let's take a look at this. So I think the pads coming up are going to be a common problem. This is looking nasty. I will just carry on and solder them all on, and then we'll come back when we're doing the bodges.
Eventually.
finished putting the keyboard back together, I seem to have lost one of the good keys. I've only got the one left, which is missing a pin. I thought I had an extra one, and then anyway, on the bottom we have the wire mods that I've done. It's really nasty. The solder was horrible. So really we need to test this. Just got to put the smaller one on the side. We have the keyboard put back together, and I've got it connected up to the working 800XL. The ribbon cable was a little bit dodgy, but it's in, and I have checked continuity between the connector and the keyboard. I'm just going to put a piece of foam over the top, and then we can try it. So we can get into the self-test. Let's do the keyboard test. So it's not very good, is it? I'm going to have to do some testing on the tracers and the actual key switches. So I'm going to make a note of the keys that are working, and then I'll move the camera back overhead and we'll do some testing. Well, that's one not going to work because I forgot to solder it. We could start on like this top corner, 1, 2 and 3. We know, sorry, skate 1 and 2. 3 and 4 was okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 0 were okay. So let's concentrate on these 3. I mean, this one's really bad anyway. There's so many, the tracers are barely on. So, continuity on the meter. We go from there to there, from there to there. That goes to there. 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 So it must be the other connections. So is it the switches? Switches are good. Let's check a few other keys. Let's try this side. Oh no, goes to there, which goes to there, there. Yes, 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 yes. So I wonder if that is supposed to be connected to there. That would make sense to me. So that one goes to there, to there, to there, to there. That one's not very good. Let's do that one with some proper flux. Okay, so I think that's bad. So we can do a mod from there over to there. I'm going to try it again. Maybe I should try the original keyboard again. I've been checking continuity. If I work my way down, and I'm touching the pin, so this is having to go through the ribbon to the connector. This one isn't connecting. And this one isn't connecting. And this bottom one isn't connecting. You can see if I actually touch onto the ribbon, but it's not on the connector. So I have this one, which I took off the XE. We can do a quick test. Okay, so let's plug in this. See if this works any better. No, so that one definitely has a problem. And so does that one. Let's try the first one again. And then this one shouldn't work. This one should, and this one shouldn't. And then should. So we definitely have a problem with the ribbon cable, unfortunately. Let's try this again. That looks better. Okay, we have continuity. Right, let's just get a notepad. 1, 6, 7, 8. Q, Y, U. Let's go. 8. S, T, F, G, H, J, K, L. 7, M, M. I wrote down what wasn't working, and I printed out a keyboard matrix. And there was definitely 2 patterns that I saw. 1, Q, A, Z, they're not working, so that says pin 16. 7, 6, U, Y, N, that says pin 10. There was a couple that are on their own, so 8, that could be just something on that one key. And then this row, caps, A, S, D, F, G, H. Caps is working. Nothing's working after that, so that must be a break between caps lock and A. So I'm going to flip it over again, and we'll take a look at these specific areas to see what we can find. So if we look at our board, this is caps lock, and then this is A. So we must have a problem going from there to there, because the caps lock is working. So it looks like it's coming to here. It's going through that link and making its way over to there. So yeah, we need to do a link across there really. Okay, let's try that. I won't switch to the other camera, I'll just quickly test it, and then we can look at the other problems. A is still not working. S, D, F, G is, H and J aren't. And A isn't working because we have a problem with the with pin 16, and that's part of that. So S, D, G, H isn't working. Space isn't working. And J, which is row 11. So that's progress. We have some more keys working. So let's look at 1, Q, A, and Z, which is on 16. So we're still on A. So now we must be looking at this side. So if we follow the path Z, A, Q, 1, then it follows this all the way around to that point, goes over to there, down, 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 down. So I think it should carry on, which it does, but then we're not getting anything on the pins over here. So that was the one in between. Okay, so we're back to that one having a problem on the socket. So that seems to be working now. I bent the pin on the socket and it made better connection. I'm just going to test it. So that was 1 Q A Z equals star. That's working. So that's another load we can cross off. Right, I'm going to do a new keyboard test and write down the keys that aren't working. We are down to these keys, 7, 6, Y, N. Yeah, so we now have a problem with this row. Pin 10. 8 must just be a problem with that key. So let's have a look at the problem with that row. Alright, so 6. So it's 6 and 7. So that's okay to there. Yep. 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 So it's not that one. That is... Yep, that's pin 2. So it's this pin that we're having a problem with. So is it that link from there to there? Yeah, there's no pad left. So that should go to pin 10. So if we run a mod from pin 10 to there, right, so pin 10. And we'll have to fix these down with some hot glue or something, or Kapton tape, whatever will stick to the board. Six and 7 are now working. So 6, 7, 8 not working. Let's cross 6 and 7 off. Y, U, J and H, N is working. So we are down to H and J, space and help are on row 11. So I think they are the last problems. So we do have it connecting to there. This one is going through a link, but the link is working. So it does go to space. But there is another link that goes up. So the problem is the link between those two. And again, there's just no pad. Okay, so pin 10 to space, to there, to there, to there. So why isn't the help working? So that should remove a few more. Nope. 8JH. 8JH space. Still not working. So some keys weren't working on the original keyboard with this. So there could be a fault on this somewhere with those keys. I think we're at the point where we've got the same keys working as the XL. Escape 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Clear, insert, delete, tab, Q, W, E, R, T, Y, U, I, O, P. Minus equals return. Control and the key, A, S, D, F, G, H, J, K, L. Semicolon. Left cursor, star, caps lock, shift, Z, X, C, B, B, N, M. Semicolon, full stop, / shift, space. And help. All the keys are working apart from 8 and the key that's missing, and I'll fix those by getting 2 new keycaps. Working on cleaning the top and the bottom, and I've had them soaking in vinegar again and gently scrubbing with a scouring pad gently, and the top is looking okay. As we can see, the inside is still pretty bad. My problem with this is these screws are so badly corroded I can't undo them. I may have to cut through these bits. So yeah, that's waiting for the ultrasonic bath really. Tried this, didn't work. I'm trying this and it's slowly working. The stains are starting to come off. So this I think is going to be the winner, which is baking soda and vinegar. And that's been soaking for 10 minutes and it's starting to come up. So I think I'm going to rinse that off and get rid of the oven cleaner and carry on with the baking soda and vinegar. It's time to look at putting this keyboard back together. I'm still waiting for a couple of keys and things, they're on the way, but I can at least get the metalwork reassembled. My friend Lee helped me out with this metalwork. Go and check out his channel, more fun making it.
Cheers Lee, great name by the way. Lee's been kind enough to share with me the Acid Atari project in often close to real time, and during the early cleaning phase he asked if I would like to help out. I jumped at the chance to be involved in this intriguing project. I wondered how I could be useful and what expertise I might offer. Possibly some highly technical tasks that could only be done by a woodworking retro gamer who enjoys tinkering. These are the 2 bits of metal from the Atari 800 XL keyboard. Yep, these run out of vinegar and rather than go and buy some more, he sent it to someone he knows has lots of stock. My first impression when I saw the original listing on eBay was it looked like something dredged up from the wreck of the Titanic, and looking closely at these brackets, that wasn't far from the mark. The metal is pitted and rusted in places quite badly, enough that I needed to be wary about how much material I removed during cleaning. Ouch. Always wear protection. I'm just knocking the worst of the scale off for now. The acid has eaten into this quite badly, and before I can dunk it in vinegar I want to get some of the rust out of the way. There are 2 broken screws in this piece that need removing. A wiggle with a pair of long nose pliers gets the first one out. The second is a little more stubborn, but in the end it gives up. I buy my vinegar in bulk. 24 hours soak and we have some lovely brown crusty residue. This is a good sign. The remaining rust comes away with a wire brush, leaving the brackets mostly rust free for now. The thing with using vinegar to remove rust is as soon as you finish, the metal begins to oxidise again, just faster than it did before. As you can see here, there's already a brown sludge on the surface. I need to neutralise the vinegar and then protect the metal from further corrosion. A scrub over with isopropyl I can never say that. With IPA does the cleaning. Using 70% here as the extra water helps to remove the dirt and vinegar off the surface. A final rinse with deionised water to get them fully clean. They will still oxidise very fast if left untreated, so some furniture wax to help seal the metal and stop further rusting. There's still some surface rust stain that will come away with the wire wool and wax, and as long as it's not stored under boxes of leaking batteries, this shouldn't rust for some time. Thanks Lee for letting me help, and good luck with the Atari reanimation.
Wow, thank you Lee. That looks absolutely amazing. You did a fantastic job. Go and check out his YouTube channel. He made the most amazing pinball table and now he's doing some great retro repairs too. Let's get back to the Acid 800 XL. So I'm just going to use some small bolts and nuts with the washer. Bit fiddly. Just to be really careful, the switches have hardly anything holding them in place. You see, it's just, I'm going to have to glue that spacebar down. Alright, so that's those. Look how wonky the keys are. So does that need to go on the cover first? So here is our cover as far as I've got it. It's looking a lot better. So I got some screws which I hope are going to be okay. No, the washers are not big enough. Okay, that's going to be a problem. I need some bigger washers. Yeah, that looks okay. Okay, so I'll just do the one. So I need to get some better washers for that. Now the keyboard goes on. Man, that gap's almost as big as the ones in my front teeth. What do we think?
3 days later.
I have some new switches to come in, so we can replace that one. We can replace the number 8, and I've also found that I put the wrong reset button on. The one on escape should be on there. It's a lot harder to press. So I'm not looking forward to removing these again. Let's see if it's any easier with the new solder sucker. So that was our last key switch. There is our last keycap. So now we have a finished keyboard. So the bottom is a lot better. There is still all the stuff in the grills. Wow! But anyway, there we are. There is our keyboard and our system ready for when I put the mainboard back together. So there we go. After what, a week and a half of cleaning circuit boards, keycaps and switches, and then doing lots of mods, we actually have a working keyboard. Again, mind blown. I never thought that this would work. It's not something that I would recommend that we actually use on a day-to-day basis. A lot of the pads are not held in place very well, so the keys are a bit wobbly. The spacebar needs gluing down, definitely needs gluing down. But it is working, and we can also see that the case has cleaned up quite well. There are still quite a lot of stains on the grills on the bottom, but it is clean. And the outside of the case actually looks really, really nice, as long as you don't look at the bottom. And I can live with this as it stands now. The difference is absolutely night and day. I'm so happy. The next part will be cleaning the mainboard, removing all the corroded components, and then starting to reassemble that. Depending on how long that takes and how the video goes, I could save the switch on for part 4. Time will tell. So thank you for watching this. Thank you for all my new subscribers. I'm glad that you enjoyed the first episode. This one isn't quite as dramatic, let's say, but it's just good to get that keyboard up and working again. So I'll see you soon in part 3.